Muzuela Chwani, Mtozi Chwani, Kimanzi Wani. Today, we are going to continue unfolding the story which has been, blowing all over social media. And today, I have a very simple question to ask you. And I really want you to participate by helping me answer this question. Quite all right. We already know what has been happening. There's a lot of stories, there's a lot of rumors, there's a lot of allegations. But who exactly is to blame with regards to this particular situation? Mercy Cowham versus Bowman Lusambo. So today, I'm going to be asking you, the viewers, to join me as we decipher this particular problem, because it is a very rampant problem in Zambia. In Zambia, there's a lot of baby mamas out there. There's a lot of children who are being born out of wedlock. There's a lot of fathers out there who have abandoned their kids. And this is one of the reasons why, as a society, we need to get to the root cause of these particular problems. And how are we going to be able to prevent the next coming whatever generation and other people from repeating these mistakes? Because to be honest, I'm sure nobody would want to be in this particular situation that Mercy Cowham is in. And if you were a parent, you wouldn't want your kid to go through this. And yes, I do understand. Fiari Chtika, we've got this problem, we need to solve it. Personally, we are doing a lot here on Z Corner to make sure that this particular story gets out there. And yes, I do agree. It could be 50-50. So only the courts are going to be able to give us the actual facts. And what's that Bemba saying? So between these two people, maybe the girl is lying, maybe she's telling the truth. I do not really know. And to be honest, the most important thing that I really want to talk about, and rather I just want other people to learn from this particular situation, because they say a wise man learns from other people's mistakes, and they just avoid creating, or rather reciprocating the mistakes that other people learn. So come on,
tell your neighbor unkale olimba.
Tell your neighbor unkale olimba. And today I really want to talk to women. Therefore, kulanda na bana mayo sana, especially if you have ever been in a similar situation. So somebody is saying I will be cited for contempt of court. Yo, twaka, now we rebuke that in the name of Jesus. So Fena Johnson's, you'll be cited for contempt. Takwa with yo. If it takwa bumulandunga urimu court tekwati, you can't talk about other things. I'm not talking about the actual court case here. If you're but we can still have a discussion and talk about these things. This is a very strong myth in Zambia. So we are going to be talking about this whole situation. So you've got daughters, right? When is the appropriate time to teach your daughters how to choose a life partner? And whose responsibility is it to teach their kids? Well, in this particular instance, right, I'm mostly going to be interested in the girl child, because the girl child is prone to a lot of different mistakes. Solo azumwanakashi. The risk, because if you make the wrong mistakes, right? Let's say, for example, you get pregnant and you become a baby mom to somebody who's not really sort of going to be able to support your family, right? Then you have a problem, because you have to look for other males who are going to feel the biological father, the biological father's, kids who's absent. So now you've got this particular situation, and then your market value kind of goes down, because yes, ladies and gentlemen, now and she sort of has like a very unfortunate event, and then she needs to find another man, she kind of loses value. So you have to be very careful with the males that you decide to be intimate with, because we all know what usually happens when you get intimate with somebody. You're obviously going to be in some problems. So it is very important to teach our girl children, even our males. I'm not really trying to exclude our males, because he'll just be having, sex with girls and just leaving them without even feeling any remorse. So we need to start teaching our kids the essence of the importance of family values. And by the way, this is a very, very, strong, fundamental that really even adds to the economy. So basically today we are going to be talking about the dating economy and the marriage economy, because it is an economy. This is one of the reasons why people say that when somebody gets engaged, when somebody she says I'm off the market. So when it comes to dating and marriage, right, it is a market. You understand? So family values and the essence of family, it does play a key role with regards to the growth of the economy. And this is one of the reasons why healthy families, produce healthy kids. And these healthy kids are able to add value to society. You abandon them. Those kids are obviously not going to grow up in a very good environment. And they're probably going to be sort of, low breakers. There's a high probability of that happening. So these are the things that we need to talk about. So today I am going to be looking forward to talking with women. So please join the link in the comment section, or rather, Padi post. Yes, you see the link at the bottom. Let's have this conversation. I want to find out several answers from you guys, because we need to talk about these things. We need to find out exactly what is happening and how to get to the bottom of this particular situation. So please join in. Whose fault is it? Is it Mercy Cowham's fault that she's got 3 kids, 2 kids and 1 on the way? Is it Bowman Lusambo's fault? Is it Bowman Lusambo's fault and all that stuff? So if you want to be part of this conversation, join the link, which is going to be posted right now. So let me just post the link, and then you are going to be able to join and be part of the conversation. So I just posted the link. It's right there. It's right there. Join the conversation. Join the conversation, because lelo.
Come on, tell neighbor unkale olimba. Come on, tell neighbor you are here at owner's risk.
Okay, so if you are a parent, are you teaching your kids to choose the right partner? Or perhaps, your kids, your daughters are going to be somebody else's baby mama. Tell me what you think about this whole situation. So let me read a few of your comments. Emmanuel Mwila says, how far with the DNA test? So basically, money is being raised at this particular moment. We are raising the funds on the 12th of November. Mr. Chitambala Moyo of Simon Mwelen Television is going to be able to say, we've raised so and so amount of money. Then she's going to proceed to do the DNA test. She's probably going to do it in South Africa, but we are not going to be responsible for the DNA whatever process. It's the people who are, the lawyers, hard lawyers, and other people are going to be able to take up that position. So for us, we're just helping her raise the money. I have somebody coming through, but I really wanted a female to join this conversation. So Mweba Nakashi is saying, and if you are going to be joining this conversation, kindly turn on your video. So yes, we have a female. Welcome.
Hi.
Hi, how are you, Kayla?
I'm okay. How are you?
Oh, I'm lovely. I'm doing great. Good evening. Where are you joining us from?
Lusaka.
Okay. So, what's your marital status, by the way, before we go on?
I'm very single.
You are single, and how old are you?
I can't display my age on live.
Oh, okay, because we want to know your experience.
About that lady.
We're meant to have a conversation up, but we need to find out what type of qualifications you have. Because Kunoni.
Come on, tell neighbor unkale olimba.
No, but I have qualifications in relationships. I've dated so many men, and I am actually the perfect person to respond to.
Okay.
I mean, to share my thought on that.
Questions. We're going to ask
bring it on.
All right. So you said you've dated a lot of men, right?
Yes.
Are you going to settle with any of those? Well, why did you have the need to date a lot of men? Why are you doing that?
I thought this was about Bowman and the lady.
We'll get to the Bowman and the lady type of question, because you know this is in line with what we're going to be talking about. So Kunoni,
Come on, tell me unkale olimba.
Okay,
Come on,
sure. What's the question again?
The question is, why do you feel the need to date so many men before you settle down?
For the sake of experience and also getting to know different kinds of characters. Yeah, I guess.
All right. So well, I assume you become intimate with these men, right?
Obviously, that's the whole point of dating.
All right. Okay. So when do you plan to settle down?
When I find the right man.
All right. Okay, cool. Now let's get to the Bowman Lusambo's question situation. So who is to blame?
First of all, I just feel that that's a lot of drama, and I really don't know. I think the lady is somehow to blame in that. Hello, can you get me?
Yeah, I can. I'm right here. Opportunity.
The lady is somehow to blame in the fact that if that really is true, because I don't know if it's true, because you know relationships are between two people. So if it's really, really true that he's the father of those kids, I think the lady is the one to blame, because when she had the first kid, second kid, and she realized that he's not sponsoring or giving her money, I think that was the time she would have left. And also, I don't like the fact that she's going all over social media to talk about this issue. I think that's where she also went wrong. The fact that she brought it on social media to talk about it is just so wrong. I mean, she can easily take her relatives, and I think there's a better way of sorting out that issue, because, you know, at the end of the day, it'll go to social media, she'll be having fun, but when all this is said and done, she'll be depressed, hurt, and she'll be on the losing side. So I think there's a better way to handle this situation.
All right. Well, let me try to fill in for her. I'm just assuming. Okay, let's say, for example, she tried all the ways. Because according to the information that we're getting, right, she kind of reported this matter a while back. So she only resorted to like getting to this extent after Fintufia Shupa. You know, like she's trying to use other methods and then it's not really working out. So maybe this is one of the reasons why she was inclined to sort of reach this extent. So let's assume she tried all the other ways to fit a bomba. Then what? What would you do if you were in her position? You're a baby mama to this guy and he's not really supporting the kids. What would you do? You've done everything else. What would you do?
I wouldn't really go on social media, but then, you know, I really don't understand that she has 3 kids and she's pregnant for him.
Right.
It's really complicated. There's really more to that.
Right. And by the way, you haven't really answered the question. So who is to blame here? Allegedly. Well, we're assuming, okay, hypothetically speaking, the man or Mercy Cowham, who is to blame for her situation?
Honestly speaking, I'll blame the man, because the moment you start having a relationship or a sexual relationship with a woman, you need to start taking care of her. All
right, okay, Kayla, let me just hold you right there. So basically, you're saying it's the man who's at fault here. So now, where does self-accountability come through when it comes to women? Because you guys always talk about equal rights, this, that, but where does self-accountability come through? Because according to the information, right, she wasn't raped. Because according to the interview that we're seeing, there was consensual sex. Arisa Sumina. You know, Arisa Pakula. She was up for the task. So where does self-accountability come through?
More relationship accountability. A man has to be a man.
But it's not a marriage. Hold up, it's not a marriage.
I said a relationship or a marriage, because your relationship still back with the so even you on your own, how can you feel you want the woman to take care of your child first again to take care of your child as a man you have to sponsor. That's why I said from the beginning of the relationship umealingira tampo kuilangisha otuma loshoni alekutwalako kumishishi alekushitako ifindu waisha na papa enokuwa kakupera efumo n'omwana kusasunga. So obviously I'm not really saying that's the way the story is because I don't want to be quoted saying that Limbiba Bowman even or what not.
Yeah.
But on a general point of view, I just want to say that when you enter in a relationship, first kumonomo amofu alekusunga alekutwalako kumala alekulukishako emishishi alekushitako namafta just the little things.
Now Kayla, we are running away from the story. Whoever he is, obviously he's capable of doing that. And when this lady was in this situation, you know, she saw okay, and all that stuff. But where did it go wrong? Let's stick to this situation because we've got like a very financially capable type of person. You know,
Exactly.
So in this situation, is there self-accountability on the lady's part, or it's we are just going to crucify the man?
As much as I don't want to be on the man's side, this story doesn't really seem true to me because honestly speaking, I heard she was requesting him to give him a 15,000. I don't think the Honorable is the type of person who can fail to give her a 15,000. That's why I really don't like supporting men, but with this story,
all right, so you're just basically going to be against the man and you're not really going to allow the woman to be so basically everything falls on a man, like women, there's no self-accountability, right? So basically, the woman was forced, and she's got.
She wasn't forced. But you know, in the beginning, it's a man who always goes for a woman. So I've ever been like a fiance fintu. So at the end of the day.
But a woman has got the right to, you know, open up her legs and you know, consent to a relationship, because women have got the power. Women are the ones who select who to have sex with and who not to have sex with. You know, that's what women control. You guys have got the power to have control over that particular issue. So obviously this lady consented and she agreed to do this thing. So she obviously made a decision and she influenced the situation to some extent, because if she didn't, you know, get the number and call and spend a whole night from Kumiavo, because at that particular time she was 16, she goes and then apakula. So she's got nothing to blame. She's innocent, basically.
No, she's not innocent. All I'm saying is that the story, entirely straightforward story. So that's why it's very difficult to comment, because honestly speaking, Abana three children.
Right.
Nefumo. So Oloyali Pabi one number two. How did she get the third child? Meaning Padama agreements, and you know, sometimes even me, I've been in a situation when I'm dating. Maybe I find him cheating, he'll come back to me and say, oh, no, sorry, baby. No, sorry, baby. But sorry, that number 5 niche problem. So that's what I'm saying, is story.
Yeah, I see. Now let's talk about the men, you know, body of today's conversation. So, who is supposed to teach girl children how to pick a man? Because clearly this lady is very bad at making decisions. Let's be honest. Let's call a spade a spade.
Already the man is married.
Exactly. So this lady has
number one.
Yeah, has got a problem with you know, making decisions. So who is supposed to teach children, especially the girl child, how to pick the right life partner? You know, because you have to pick a life partner, somebody who's going to at least be there for you and your kids until at least vakulako, you know. So who's supposed to do that between the parents, between the wife and the husband?
Okay, I'm speaking for myself. For me, I'm going to start teaching my girl children as liminga of an angle 7, no, maybe 10, because Zambia these days it's very difficult to find like the right man. So I think it's the woman's part. Like we really need to play a big role as women to educate our girl children on the right kind of man to pick.
All right. So did your mom teach you how to pick the right kind of man?
No, they didn't. You know, the Zambian setup of being true tradition, and you know, this has really affected a lot of us, because you know, when you're growing up, your parents will tell you to stay away from men, and then when you reach a certain age, they expect you to get married. Now you would have been staying away from men, but again, now they are pushing you to get married. So it's really, really hard. But I think that should really change.
Right. Okay. So basically, I'm assuming that you are the same age with Mercy, or you're slightly older, right?
How old is she?
She's 23. She's 23.
She's very young. She's
yeah, exactly. And according to your own understanding, when should a woman settle down? Because you say that you've been dating, you've had like several relationships. So according to you, when should a woman pick a life partner and settle down? By what age?
I don't really think it's about the age. Same applies to a man. It's about the maturity. Like,
well,
when
hold on.
You are mature.
Hold on.
Okay.
Let me clarify that point before you go on further, because that's a myth. It's not factual. Well, a woman has got limitations. Biologically speaking, when a woman is 35, right, she is likely to reach menopause, and the baby can have complication beyond 35. So a woman and a man is not really equal in terms of when to settle down and have kids. So women are limited from a biological point of view. There is a limit. 35, by 35, you should be winding up. By 30, you should be winding up. So proceed with your what were you saying?
Okay, so I'm gonna say maybe 25, but I really don't believe in the age kind of thing, because you know, sometimes someone is 23 but they are mature and they can settle. Sometimes you find a 30-year-old, they're not ready and they're not mature to get married. So I think, you know, marriage really deserves a certain percentage of maturity. I've never been married, but I've heard so many stories. So
right.
I really think like.
So let me just stop you there. So don't you think women are supposed to be able to make decisions and cipher out, the worthless men, and submitting to a man who's mature, a man who's financially capable, and a man who's basically going to be able to do that? Do you think it really takes a lot for a woman to be able to decide? Do you think a woman needs to go through tons of men in order for her to get to the right person, or she can do it right the first time? Why does she need to have like a lot of experience? Why does she need to date a lot of men in order for her to know that, at least bond, he should be financially stable and all that stuff? Why do women feel the need of dating a lot of men? And when they date a lot of men, right, there's a probability that they could get pregnant, they become baby mamas, and then gababa muni mwamone in situation, then they start looking for another man to find them, and that man makes them pregnant. Again, he leaves them because there's other children involved, and he doesn't want to take care of other people's children, and then this cycle goes on and on. So how many men should a woman date in order for her to know this basic principle that ine pakupakula ine mfuire na sanga waba mature and waba financially stable and somebody who's going to be able to take care of me?
I think as many men as she can, because I think the more you date men, the more you get to understand them. So it's very important to date as many men as you can.
All right. Okay. That's your opinion. we agree and we accept. Well, because it's your opinion. So anyway, before I invite other people, what else would you want to let us know? Because I was cutting you over and over.
Well, I think I've said enough, but I would just love to advise parents like to really be open with their children, because most of such cases happen because most parents are not open with their children. And also women, please choose the right man. At least just the little things. He doesn't really have to be a very rich guy, but always look for a man who's at least doing better than you. So like grade 12, college, like a bit just above you, then things will be okay. Bye. Thank you so much. I had a nice time.
All right. Okay. Thanks a lot, Kayla. Thanks a lot. Good luck.
All right. Good night. Thank you.
All right, Betty. Hey, how you doing, Betty Banda? Can you hear us? Betty? Chapala kwatiba Betty na balala. Betty? All right. Mr. Janks, hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. So, how old are you?
I'm 26.
You're 26. All right. What's your marital status?
Like marital status. I'm dating. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So you're unmarried, but you're seeing somebody. All right. Okay. Cool. So you're 26. You're seeing somebody. Have you ever been married before?
No.
All right. Okay. So my question is, first of all, who is to blame, the lady or the man in this situation?
I think the both of them.
All right. Explain.
The reason why I'm saying the both of them, when it comes to the vulnerable, the way you were supposed to do is, if a married man, I know a married man is supposed to be someone who is responsible to the family and someone who is able to know that what I'm doing is good or what I'm doing is right. According to Daraba Bowman Lusambo, why going to someone like at that age, and then the other thing is what he has done, he has destroyed a life of that woman. Yeah. And then to the woman, how can you start dating someone you know that is already in marriage, he has a child, stuff like that. So to me, both of them, they are wrong because they took a step where no one can give them the support that okay, also that they feel like, also that they feel like. I'm talking this because it's something that I've experienced some times back ago. I was dating a little boy, like I was dating a girl, and the relationship was just okay, and we dated for 2 years, and then at the end of the day, she was seeing someone, and she used to lie to me that that's my uncle, that's my uncle. And then at the end of the day, she got pregnant. That's when she realized that what she did was a mistake. Then the man also was like, "Oh, I didn't know." So this thing happening every day as we are talking. There are people who are quarreling. There are people who are discussing. There are people who are going the same problem. So it's not about, you don't have to blame the Mr. Bowman Lusambo or the girl, but you just have to blame the both of them because they were alone.
Right. So why do you think we have a lot of such situations? A lot of baby moms, a lot of children born out of wedlock. Why do you think we are having this situation, and it's becoming very common?
We are having this problem because of our generation, like the girls in this generation, they only depend on money. they don't depend on working hard, or they don't depend on believing in one person like a man. What they do is, because they want to show up to their friends that, yo, I'm dating this person, I'm getting so much, I'm looking nice, or whatever the weak girl, believe falling and that's the problem. Because for the ladies, the only thing I can tell them is, what they have to do is, they just have to believe in one person. If you are dating one person, you're not going to have a problem. If you are dating a person who has a dream, and then you're not going to have a problem. Imagine you are dating someone who's already married. Do you think that person is going to marry because he's already he's already married, and he's already a person who was like a father. Yeah. So I think for the girls, this is the only problem they are facing. They don't believe in working hard. They don't believe in getting one person, because they ababemba baranda. Me, I'm not bemba, but ababemba baranda ati umwa umeonse wamona urensha motoka nakwata omwana akashkwisa kumbali walipo nakwata omwana akashkwisa waliko, but tiwaingira shani motoka ya mama urensha BMW tawashine kwashikisha.
All right. Okay. Down for us. So, when do you think parents are? Well, I mean, you're not a parent, so all right. Okay. It doesn't really. It doesn't really matter. To understand about junks, let me give opportunity for other people to also comment as well. Thanks a lot, man.
Okay, thanks.
All right, Monique. Hi. Welcome to the platform.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. Do you have a video, or you want to be incognito?
Yeah, my face looks bad right now, so I just had to turn my camera off.
All right. Okay, cool. So who's to blame? The lady or the man?
For me, I blame the man. I say this because the lady said she was 16 when she met the man. And I believe at the time, Mr. Bowman was already old. He was not young. And he knew that he was married. He knew what he was getting himself into. And the woman, she was innocent at the time. Like she said, she just completed school. And like when you go in society after school, you look good.
Monique, can I stop you there? Well, she consented. She agreed. Unless people say that she was forced, she was raped, and she did it out of her will, that's when we can, consider your fact. But she consented. She agreed. Unless she was forced, raped, defiled, and forced to do what she did. So how come she doesn't get any blame at all in this situation?
I say this because, to begin with, Mr. Bowman was married at the time. Yes, she might have consented, but she didn't plan for things to end the way they are right now. Because
But Monica,
yeah.
when you have sex with a man, there is a probability that kids are going to come out. We all know this. They teach in school, is on TV. There's no rocket science from that particular situation. If you have sex with a man, there is a probability of getting pregnant. And then she has 2 kids and there's one on the way. So if it was only one time, we could have understood. But it's like over and over. So basically, she was forced all these times.
No, I'm not saying she was forced. I blame the man because, like she said, she never knew that he was married until later on, I think on the 3rd child, if I'm not mistaken. Meaning he knew what he was doing. When you love someone, for them to even, like she said, they've been together for 8 years. And through this 8 years period, you cannot tell me she did not have any feelings towards him. She did. And because of those feelings, you definitely have to make out with your partner. You do all sorts of things. And then when kids come in, and like she said, at some point they were cohabiting. So, Charlie Fekwati Chopo. Had she known, like,
right, let me stop you there. So you say Charlie Fekwachupoka, but in our tradition, in our Zambian customs, before you even start going with a man, before the festival, and then when the parents bless the situation, then you can proceed and cohabit. Tefe Chaba Konse.
It's a child, but I mean, you cannot make everyone do that, and you cannot make decisions for people. Vale abakalamba, I should say, and they knew what they were doing.
So it's the guy who's to blame that this lady didn't follow our traditions.
No, like in some ways they were both wrong, but I blame Mr. Bowman, especially like with what's going on right now. Like with everything she explained, with the things she's going on, because he knew he was married, and he could have easily prevented that thing by not talking to the girl in the first place. Or if Nixon actually like right now, he could have just proceeded like taking care of her, taking care of the kids, those type of things, and by now we wouldn't
Right.
have even known this thing that's going on right now. But because of his inabilities to look after her, to look after the kids, it's led to this.
Right. Well, I do agree with you, but this is where the point of self accountability comes in. You see, you're not really responsible for another person's action. Yes, we expect the man to, take up the mantle and provide, protect the kids, and feed the kids. But what if he doesn't do that? This is where the self accountability aspect comes in. Okay, if I take a leap of faith and go this path, there is a probability that this man is not going to follow through and come through. So in that situation, what do I do next? Da ufede fe waingira mofe na fiance chimpwe or chimpulo mpula waingira mofe or in, and then the man bakufumamo. Then what happens? Don't you
No,
think
but
that that's where now we should be
no,
able to teach our kids
that.
to minimize the probability of that happening?
But you can't prevent, because when this type of thing happens, it's because she loved the man, and you cannot stop your heart from loving someone. When you love someone, you give your everything to that person, and then that's when the kids come in. It's just like for me. I was once in a toxic relationship. The guy was crazy and all. He would always, cheat, do all sorts of things, and each time he came back, I would take him back. Why? Because I loved the man. Even when I would vow, like, okay, you more men and Gwabwela this time around, Shakamuwe, Shelo Shanshan, but you cannot stop the heart, like, from what it wants. So I don't fully blame her, because she was in
Mhm.
love, she was doing those things because that's what the heart wanted. If she had everything in control, maybe by now she would have left the man, and the thing wouldn't have even led up to this. But because of the love she had towards him, she should be pregnant again.
Right. Now, Monica, let me flip the script. What if it was a 16-year-old boy who met a 35-year-old woman? Who is to blame in that situation?
I mean, I think if a 30-something-year-old woman goes for a 16-year-old boy, then it's because she knows she's capable of taking care of herself, and if she's to ever get pregnant, she's capable of taking care of the same child she's with, and she probably would take care of the man. So, yeah, I don't think it would be like this unless otherwise.
So if a 16-year-old boy impregnated a 35-year-old woman, it's whose problem would there be an upper, and whose problem would it be? Would it be the boy's fault or the girl's fault? Who's accountable here for the situation?
It it would be the girl, because one, she's older than the guy, and her sleeping with a 16-year-old boy, it's because she just wanted some, I don't know how I would put it. She just wanted maybe some sexual satisfaction or something that she's lacking in those areas. So it would be the girl. Maybe those ones, like, you don't have anyone by your side. You need a man or you need kids, but maybe due to age, name monekela, you just end up
Hmm.
finding a young boy. Maybe you want a kid, so you just get pregnant, but you're going to be responsible for the child, because a 35 or 38-year-old woman wouldn't be like your father with a 16-year-old and maybe rely on the young boy for everything. I don't think it would be like that.
All right. Okay. So to all the people watching us right now, if you want to be part of this conversation, I know a lot of you want to join. The link is in the comment section, or just expand the description of this post. You'll find the link. So let me post the link right now one more time, because Single My Elvis wants to be part of this conversation since my professionals. So anyway, Monica, thanks a lot for your 2 cents. Thank you for your input. Of course, I'm playing devil's advocate here. Thanks a lot. Is there anything you would love to say?
No, thank you so much and have a good night.
All right. Have a good night. Okay, so let's bring Betty once more time. Betty, hello. Betty, good evening. Let me also bring in Angie. Angie, hello.
Hi. Hello.
Hi. All right. So both of you are now, listening to me. So let's start with Betty. Betty, how are you doing and where are you calling? Where are you joining us from? Okay, Betty has left. Let's talk to Angie. Angie, hello.
Hi. How are you?
I'm very good. Do you have a video? Nangu mletina. Mletina
Ah,
chipando kumimona.
wachawomba night shift, so apero tuavuka.
All right. Okay. So who's to blame in this situation?
I think they are both to blame.
Right.
They are both to blame because Bowman shouldn't have even approached her in the first place. Especially the fact that he knew that he was married. He should have just stuck to his wife, you know? And as a young girl, she said she met him when she was 19. She barely knew anything about love. So it was very easy for her to just listen to anything that he had to say. And from a young age, she sounded like she did need a father figure. And at the same time, she also needed shelter and, someone to comfort her. So I feel like Bowman took advantage of her vulnerability and he used that to his advantage.
Right. So
And
Angie, what can we do as a society to prevent people from being vulnerable? Do you think perhaps more emphasis on educating our youths, the younger ones, on how to avoid these situations? Do you think it's going to help prevent such situations from happening?
I feel like we need to come up with programs to help young people, especially orphans and people that are really in need of our help, because it seems like they can easily fall prey to anything that a man tells them or a woman. They can easily be taken advantage of. So if we can find means and ways of empowering them, if we can come up with scholarships to give to people who still want to further, or come up with a trade for those that want to do something like carpentry, I think that would be good.
Right. So let me ask you a few other questions. What's your marital status?
I'm married.
You're married, right? So in your situation, uh, uh, who was able to teach you how to pick a very good life partner? And by the way, have you been married more than once? What's your situation? This is your only marriage, or there's?
This is my first marriage,
All right. And
and
how long have you been married?
I'm approaching 2 years.
2 years, right? Okay. So
Yes.
did you have kids out of wedlock, or you did the right thing, got married, and then the kids came?
Oh, hell no. I did the wrong thing.
Oh, okay. First it was the
Yeah.
kids, right?
Yeah, I
Then
think
the marriage.
no, not really. I think my situation was somehow a little similar to hers.
Okay.
I met a man, I was also a virgin, 25, 24 years old. He had all the right things to say, 5 years in a relationship, and then got pregnant,
Okay.
and then you feel that this is it. He's going to marry me. But unfortunately, things didn't work out. But I took that as a learning point. I didn't make that as a place
Yeah.
for me to start
Mhm.
getting more children. I think that's where she also made her mistake. She should have learned from one child, and then from there she could have stopped having more children, and she could have wanted to better herself. So like for me, I decided to better my education, went back to school, then I tried out traveling, and now I found myself in the United States,
All right. Okay.
and that's
So
when,
the person who you're married to, that's not the biological father, right?
no, but he's a wonderful man. He's an American.
Or even Zambian men are wonderful. Because
They
now
they
you're trying to paint us all bad.
No, Zambian men are good. They are
Yeah.
okay.
So are you staying with your kid, or the kid is in Zambia?
I'm with her, but he's a good father to my child. You can't even tell that this
Mm-hmm.
is not his biological child.
Right, right. So,
Yeah.
you had like a very good upbringing, I assume, right? I mean, you were able to sort of get taught how to choose a partner and all that stuff, right? You were taught these things.
Unfortunately, no. Even simple topics like menstrual cycle, I had no
Mhm.
idea what that was.
Right. So perhaps, do
So,
you think we should be able to like teach our kids these things?
yes,
Hmm.
yes. I personally feel that these are things they're supposed to be aware of from a young age. Like for kids, they're supposed to know that a man or a woman is not supposed to touch you here. You know, if this one does this to you, you're supposed to tell mommy or daddy. All that is very important. And at the same time, I feel that most women who are easily taken advantage of are
Hmm.
those that are not educated.
Definitely, definitely. All right. Okay. So thank you, Angie, for your 2 cents. Let me move on to other people. So unless there is anything you would love to add?
No, that's it. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. All right. Take care. Be blessed. Okay. Mr. Elvis Singoma. Namu ponta sana panani. At we're amateurs. Let's go for it. Let's go for it. Bring the hits. Okay. Mwema
All right.
professionals. Tell us.
Thank you so much. I've been following through ever since you started. And there's one thing that I've actually observed. The reason why I wrote what I wrote is because I really wanted to be on this call because of something that I want to raise. Okay,
Right.
there are certain things as we talk of Mercy Cowham. She's Mercy Cowham?
Yeah.
There are a number of things that we have to talk. Mr. Bowman Lusambo is a politician, but when we talk of such issues, let's put politics aside. We are going to speak the truth that is on the ground. There's one thing that we have to understand. By the way, I'm 40, I was married before, and I'm not married at the moment, but there's something that most people have to understand today. The first thing that you have to understand is the fact that if there's someone who followed the story of Mercy when she was being interviewed by Mr. Simon Mwewa, I am the one. I'm one of those people. And I actually followed it. I spent my time listening to her because I really wanted to get the whole truth. So from her story, you can tell that I think she lost her parents before she even met Mr. Bowman Lusambo. She was already an orphan, and she was just being kept by people who are not her parents. That's one thing that people have to understand. So let's look at this young girl who is she was 16, 17. I'm not very sure on
16,
that one.
yeah. 16.
She was 16 years old. So let's look at this young girl versus an old man who is above 40 years.
Right.
So this old man who is above 40 years and this 16-year-old girl who is just being kept, and she's vulnerable. Definitely, she sees this good man who has promised her a lot of things, and there was a time when she could even visit the house of this honorable in Ndola. She could travel from Luansha, she goes to Ndola, and she stays with him. And he also introduced her to another place where Mr. Bowman has had a lodge. I don't know whether he still has it, but he could take her to that lodge, and she could also stay with him in the same house. So it was very easy for a 16-year-old girl to believe that Mr. Bowman Lusambo was not married. Definitely, when you see someone staying in this house and you are always free, no one calls. I don't know the tricks he was using until they had all these 3 children. Now, she was, of course, growing up in the process. Now, as they were growing up, we know what we do as men to make a woman love you. To make a woman love you. And when a woman loves, they will give you all the children you want on earth. I know how women can love. They will give you all the children and with all the hopes, because definitely you have a child, again you have another one, and now you are assured that my children will never suffer because I am dating a man or I am cohabiting with a man who has got the money, because we are able to see the money. So definitely my children will never suffer. I can give him as many children as he wants because I can see the money. And of course, there were promises. And I remember Mercy saying there was a time when she was even taken to some houses where she could be promised to say, no, this house is going to be yours together with our children and all that. So she believed. She believed. I don't know what really went wrong for the honorable not to honor what he promised. Later on, she discovers he's married. So I saw the truth in what the girl was saying. And I am here to also blame those who are saying this young lady is telling lies. Trust me, there's no way a young lady like that one, 23 years old, who says, I met Mr. Lusambo when I was 16 years old, can come out and start lying. So if this young lady is lying, it is very easy for a minister or a former minister or a member of parliament to quickly intervene in this matter and bring out the truth. So in other words, I'm trying to say this girl is telling the truth. So now that she's telling the truth, definitely what is happening at the moment, she doesn't have the support. And now she knows, because she's got the rights, she's got the children that belong to the former minister. And of course, she doesn't have the financial muscle. So what does she do? That's the reason why she's coming out to the general public, so that people can help her. So this is also extended to women organizations. Where are you? Can't you see the cry of a woman who says, now he doesn't pick my cause, I can't meet him, I go to his house, the security guard is chasing me from afar, I go to parliament, I cannot meet him because the security, he is a honorable, for crying out loud. This girl is in pain. That's why you see her coming out like that. She needs our help. I don't know really what we can do, because if she's the way she's telling the truth now, she's helpless, and she thinks coming out that way, that's when she's going to get the help. And women organizations are very slow to act. They are very slow to act.
Exactly.
So now coming back to
Mr. Singoma,
yes.
I've got a question. Okay, this is just one case whereby, let's say, for example, a girl child is unfortunate, she's an orphan, there's no male figures, no fatherly figures, we understand. Then there's a lot of vulnerability involved. But what about other females who come from good homes, but they decide to be baby mothers? How can we encourage our children, both men and women, to be able to choose right life partners?
Definitely, that's another case, and I'm going to answer it according to the way it is. Now, when we talk of young girls who are also, being taken advantage of, definitely as parents, it also starts with parents and guardians to make sure that you are in constant touch. You are always having conversations with your children, making sure that you are educating them, telling them to say, going after older men is not the solution to a better life. Because what is happening at the moment, it's not only the children in the compounds, it's also happening in colleges. It's also happening in universities. A girl has got 3 sugar daddies, 4 sugar daddies, and probably it's because they can afford what she wants. They can afford iPhones. They can afford whatever she wants. So it starts with the parents and the guardians. Let's make sure that we are providing enough for our children so that they are not taken advantage of due to peer pressure and all that. You don't have an iPhone and all your roommates in your boarding house have got iPhones. So we provide as parents, we provide as guardians. Then the other thing is we also talk to our children, educating them that these older men you are going after, definitely they will give you iPhones, they will give you whatever you want, pizza, anytime you want it.
What's the appropriate age to start teaching them these things?
I didn't get your question.
What's the appropriate age to start teaching children how to find the right life partner? What age for girls and for males?
My girl child is 7 years old, and I'm already talking to her about this. So you can start from as low as 5, just to start, scaring them about such issues. I'm already talking to her. I think you can start from as early as 5, 6, 7 going up, so that by the time they are old, they already know to say there's no older man who will come to you and give you what you want without using you. They say Idian Kudye. So definitely for them to give you what you want, they will also want to eat you raw like never before. So that's the reason why we need to really advise our children as early as they just start knowing life, because I know when children start knowing certain things and all that, when children start going to school, so we need to start telling them as parents, guardians, we need to be very free with our children. Let's educate them. Let's tell them what they want. Now, when we talk of people like, of course, Mercy, again, going back to Mercy, she might have been taught, maybe, I'm not sure. But let's look at this issue. You find a man, it doesn't matter how old they are, but they promise you to say, I am not married, and you have some bit of proof that this man is not married, because now you are staying with them in the same house. And when they go out of the town, they will tell you to say, I'm going for a meeting, and you can call them and they will pick your calls. Sometimes they will just drop your call and send you a text, sorry, I'm in a meeting. And you believe. Life continues. Some men are very crafty, and Mr. Bowman Lusambo is one of them. So he was very crafty that he could be with the girl for a very long period of time. For those who want to be crafty, go and learn skills from him. Because really, for a girl not to know that he's not married all that time, it calls for serious skills. So definitely he might have used the same skills on the small girl until she discovered that he is married. But somehow she discovered when it was already too late. And she said, Zondi Gueras in the Guere job 1313. Let me just approach him now, because now I have already discovered and I already have children. So it doesn't matter, whatever happens, let it happen. So it was a bit late for her to discover that he was married. That's the reason why now she needs our help. She needs women's organizations' help. Let them come out and help. Let them approach the minister. It is not easy for her to approach him. Can you imagine how many times he has been called? He has been called to the PSU, something like that, Police Support Unity, and he has not gone there. Now, if he is not, if he is really innocent, why doesn't he go there?
Right. So, Mr. Elvis, let me also ask you a few questions, just like I asked the women. You said you've got a daughter, right?
Yes.
So I assume you're above 32 years, right?
Exactly.
Right. So when did you get married, or when did you have children? Your daughter?
I had my 2 children when I was married. I got married when I was 25 years old.
When you were 25 years. Right. Yes. So were you taught how to choose a life partner? Were you taught how to choose a woman?
Apparently, I lost my parents when I was very young, and actually, I was living with my cousin, who was not really open enough to tell me all these things. But I discovered later on when I grew up to say, I think these are some of the things that we need to do, especially to our children, because I was equally not taught until I grew up and I learned on my own. Yeah.
Right. So according to the statistics and the usual common story, people in Zambia are not really taught how to choose a life partner, both, males and females. We're not taught these things. And this is an essential part of growth from, every aspect. If you talk about your own personal economy, your finances, your life in the future, it's very essential. So my other question is, if you were to, define a life partner for males in 3 sentences, what qualities should a man look for? Because you've had some experience, like what are the qualities that a man should look for when choosing a female life partner in 3 sentences?
Wow, 3 sentences. That's really a bit difficult, but I'm going to try. When you're looking for a life partner, of course, don't forget God. Always find someone who is God-fearing, or someone who is willing to start fearing God if they were not fearing God at all. Then the other thing is, and this should be mentioned really, I have seen people who meet in a club, they start a relationship and they end up getting married. Do not marry from the club, club. Do not marry from the club. For me, it's a no. If we met in the club, definitely we are not going to get married. That's one of the things that I would rather meet you somewhere else, not in a club. Then the other thing is, of course, as you are looking for...
You've gone more than 3 sentences. Just 3 sentences. Simplify 3 sentences, Chabi. 3 sentences.
Okay, that's really a very difficult question for me to answer. All I can say is, when you're looking for a woman, first of all, you need, because when you go out to find a woman, it's like someone who goes to a mall. There are certain things that you have to work on first. So as you go to the mall, list down the qualities that you want.
What are those qualities?
Of course, a God-fearing woman.
God-fearing, number 2.
Yeah. Someone who is a bit younger than you.
Yeah, okay. So youthfulness, younger than you. Okay, so God-fearing, youthfulness, number 3.
Number 3, someone who is coachable. Because definitely we come from different backgrounds. You need someone who can, change a few things, adjust. Because definitely there are certain things where you will not be, in conformity. So someone who is willing to adjust.
So the word that you're looking for is submissiveness. Somebody who's submissive. They can, exactly. Learn. All right. So God-fearing, younger than you, and submissive. Anything else?
No, just that.
All right. Okay. So let me tell you the qualities that every man should look for in a woman. Number 1, femininity. Mr. Singoma has gone. Anyway, what I was saying is femininity in a woman is very important. You don't want a woman who's masculine and she's opposing you all the time, and just basically your energies are kind of mixing. So femininity, a woman who's fertile. And when it comes to fertility, right, this is where the age comes in. Because I remember I told you that obviously by 35, a woman's fertility dwindles down. This is biology. Biology, and we can't even argue about this. A woman who's 55 or 65 isn't really the same in terms of fertility. So women are usually very fertile from around, 16 to 27, somewhere there. Then it begins to dwindle down. So femininity, fertility, and submissiveness. You need somebody who you can obviously get to lead, somebody who's going to be able to follow your lead, because as a man, you're supposed to be able to lead. You're supposed to be able to be financially, secure. You're able to protect, provide, and prowess and all that stuff. So basically, as a man, before you even think of getting with a woman, you need to be able to lead. And when it comes to leading, right, you need to have the right resources. You need to be able to emotionally and mentally be able to control the woman. So Mr. Elvis, but anyway, let me just invite some more. Mr. Elvis, you're there? Mr. Singoma. Hello?
I'm here.
Hello?
Yeah, sorry, we lost you. Can you just
Sorry, we
turn up
lost you. Can you just turn up the
whatever you're watching in the background,
whatever
because I
you're
can
watching
hear
in the
myself.
background? Because I can hear myself.
Okay, sure, we can talk.
If you're watching me on another thing, browser tab, kindly switch it off. Just remain with the StreamYard account.
Account.
I don't think there's another object that I'm using. It's just this one.
All right, because I can hear my
feedback.
my
feedback.
Wow,
All right, okay,
I don't
so,
really.
Okay, so
just fix it, like close everything, YouTube, Facebook, then you can come back.
You can come back.
Okay.
All right, so let me add Elvis. Elvis, hi.
Hi.
Good. Where you joining us from?
This is Solwezi.
Solwezi, good. What's your marital status and how old are you?
Very much married. I'm 45.
Lovely. So, what are the top qualities a man should be looking for in a woman? In less than 3 sentences.
The qualities that a man should look in a woman is, number one, don't go for beauty, go for the heart.
Right.
Number two, submissiveness. Number three, somebody that can obey God.
Right.
Getting me?
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Those are the 3 major important things that somebody should look into a woman. If somebody's beauty can fade, but the heart remains the same.
Definitely. So, in this situation, who's to blame? The man or the woman? This situation that we're talking about with regards to the alleged baby mama, who's to blame here? Is it the man or the woman?
There's nobody to blame. People, we shouldn't rush to blame anybody in this situation. I wouldn't blame the lady, and I wouldn't blame the honorable. The reasons are simple. There are reasons that may have led the lady to do what she did. And it's because we haven't gone to fit into her shoes to understand what led her to do what she did. At the same time, we cannot blame the honorable because we do not understand what led him to go and propose that young lady. So there's nobody to blame. We are supposed to be looking for answers on how we are going to sort out this situation. Okay?
Exactly.
So nobody is there to blame. We should find solutions for Mercy. At the same time, we should be looking for solutions or help for the honorable.
Right. So do you believe in self-accountability, sir?
Exactly.
Yeah, so where does self-accountability come in?
My brother, I hope you understand better.
Exactly.
There are certain things in life that will push us to do things extraordinary that we are not supposed to do. Let's take an example of Mercy. People might begin to blame her and do whatever they want to do and say whatever they want to say. But the bottom line is we should understand what made her do what she did.
Right. So according to your own understanding, what made her do what she did?
I'm sure she was just vulnerable because from her story, saying she was an orphan and I'm sure she wanted help. And you when you are moving around this time around, because of poverty, people can do things that if you go into the bars now this time around, you find that there are a lot of ladies, and if you talk to them and find out why they are doing prostitution and other things, it will come back to poverty because they are not working, they are not earning anything at the end of the month. And because of that, you'll find that they can end up doing extra stupid things that they are not supposed to do.
Right.
I expect that is what Mercy made her even do or fall in love with the honorable.
Right. So, do you have children?
Yes, I have 2 boys.
2 boys, right? All right. So, let's talk about your situation. When did you get married?
I got married in 2005.
How old were you then?
2005, I was 35.
You were 35, right? And I assume that. And what's the difference between you and your wife?
Yeah,
The age.
I was 30 in 2005.
Right, right. What's the difference between you and your woman?
There's a difference of 3 years between the two of us.
All right, all right, okay, that's good. So, in terms of, I assume she's still the one you're with up to this very day. Is that correct, or you kind of switched up?
Yes, I'm still with the same woman.
Exactly. So I would assume that you have chosen the right life partner, right?
Exactly.
Exactly. So, who was able to teach you how to make the right decision? Because obviously you've spent more than 8 years with this person. You've got 2 lovely boys. So, who was able to impart decision making in you?
I grew up with a single mother, my mom. Dad died when I was very young, and mom brought us all together as a single family, as a single mother, and she emphasized in our early ages, our early stages of life, she emphasized that we have to cling to God, and I think that is the thing that helped us, to grow as Christians, and then she could always tell us how we are supposed to handle ourselves in relations to relationships and family. When I'm talking about relationship, it's not about girlfriend, man friend, that kind of situation. Relationships,
Right.
I'm talking about family relationships and even friendship relationships.
Right. So, they started teaching you these things roughly at what age?
I think when I was still very young.
Yeah, like give us like a demographic, like from 16 to 23, or Shan.
I think as early as 10. As
Right,
early
right.
as 10.
So, what characteristic, or rather, what qualities do you think has made your marriage last for this long?
Number 1, transparency.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, faithfulness.
Mm-hmm.
And number 3, forgiveness.
Right, right. So I assume you lead your family, right? You are the leader, right?
Exactly. The head.
Does your wife work?
Yes, she does.
She does work, right? And
Yes.
when it comes to submissiveness, because you touched a very key point. You say submissiveness is one of the key factors, because we've got women saying, there should be equal, shine, everybody. So define submissiveness in a marriage.
Being submissive as a woman doesn't mean that um, you let your man to tramp on your head. The
Right.
Bible states clear that the man is the head. You can't argue with that. That is God's voice, and that is God's word. The man is the head, and the woman is a helper.
Right. Now
So
let's define
a
leading,
woman,
because
a woman's submissiveness comes when you, as the head, will do the right thing.
yes. Yes.
If I'm not doing the right thing, if I'm not loving my wife in the right way, I should not expect my woman to be submissive to me.
Right, right. So let's define leading, because there's a lot of misconception. Because a lot of men think the Bible says a woman came from my rib, so I am the head. So define leading, because there are a lot of different things involved with leading. Leading is about money. It's about being able to like financially provide for a family, make sure that nobody's lacking. It's also about being emotionally mature, protecting the household. So how can you define leading in a marriage according to your situation?
Leading in a marriage should tackle all areas of life. Spiritually, I should lead as a man. I should give them direction on how they are supposed to cling to God. Financially, I should lead as a man by making sure that when I get my salary, I should bring to my wife so that I show her what we are supposed to do and ask her, what are we supposed to do? How is our budget for that month? We make sure that we calculate the budget and do the right things, put the clear the bills and everything, so that she's aware of what is going on. That is leading, and she will definitely follow, because if I do that, then she also when she gets paid, she will definitely say, oh, okay, since my husband did this, I'm also going to do this because I've already shown the direction. Okay?
Right.
Yes.
Good. All right. Okay. Thanks, Mr. Elvis, for your input. Kuma Soloezu, I can see you guys are having like a lot of fun. I can see Chimpompo. You're doing a lovely job. You keep the economy running. I really thank you for your effort and your input. Thanks for tuning in and being part of the program.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
All right. Take care. Monica, you are up next. How are you doing, Monica? Monica, can you hear me? Monique? Monique is sleeping. All right, let's bring back Angie. Angie?
Oh, you brought me
So
back.
I brought you back. To everybody who wants to join the conversation, you already know the program. You already know the deal. All you have to do is look for the StreamYard link in the comment section, or you can check the description of this particular post. Just open the whole description. You'll be able to find the link at the bottom. So feel free to join and be part of this conversation. So Angie, welcome back.
Thank you.
Tell us what's on your mind.
Oh, well, I just wanted to give advice to the young lady. It's never too late, it's never too late. It's never too late for one to better themselves, go back to school and do something positive with your life. I know right now things may seem hard for her. She might be heartbroken because the man is married and everything that he promised her, he did not fulfill. And it's really heartbreaking, but it's never too late for her to pick up herself, better herself for the sake of her children. In fact, it's not even too late for her to get married because she's a very pretty young lady,
Yeah, very beautiful.
Yeah,
very
she's
beautiful.
very pretty. Yeah, she's a very beautiful young lady. She can always marry, and there'll always be something positive behind all this. So it's not too late. And the other thing is, as for Bowman, I think he equally needs to be accountable for his actions.
Yeah, by the way, we are assuming because we don't really know the facts. So here we are assuming. So it's not really factual, like who's right, who's wrong. And we need to wait for the legal process to be availed. So at this particular moment, we're just playing, we're just speculating. But anyway, moving away from that, right? Maureen Kalamu says, you are so wrong on fertility. Where did you get this? So I want to talk to you as a female, Angie. Do you think a woman's fertility is important in a marriage, in a relationship, considering that, she is biologically able to be fertile? If, she's like, do you think fertility plays a key role is one of the qualities that men look for in women?
Not all men. Not all men, because...
But the average man who wants to find a wife.
Okay, most men, they want a child to take their name. So that is important on a man's aspect. But when you're married and then you find out that your wife is unable to have children, I don't think children are the main cause of marriage, But you were right on the part where you were saying that from the age of, is it 16 to somewhere like 35, women are fertile. That is very true. Because, in fact, after 30, some women can start experiencing infertility, whether they've had children or not. There might be all sorts of complications like fibroids, endometriosis, just blocked tubes, and all sorts of unnecessary complications. And now you're married to this man after 30, and he's so excited, looking forward to having children. I mean, you can't change his aspect, like, no, you have to just love me because we are married. No, if a man wants a child, he wants a child, But there are other ways to have children. You can go through IVF, you can adopt. There are so many different ways. That's if he's willing.
If he's willing. But to tell you the truth, an average man wants to have kids of his own. If he's able to, if he's fertile. You know, an average man doesn't want to work, make all this money. And if he's biologically able to have kids, he wants to have his own kids. That's a fact.
Definitely.
Anybody who's going to tell you anything other than this, they're probably, lying, and they're not really being sincere. A man
Yeah.
wants to have his own DNA and his own biological offsprings. That's the key driving factors of why men work hard and all that stuff. But only in situations where he's biologically unable to, that's when he would want to, like, adopt and all that stuff. But fertility in a woman is one of the key priorities, one of the key things that a man looks for. So let me also ask you another question about submissiveness. What's your take on submissiveness from a
Before I
woman's
answer
part?
that question, just to go back to the fertility, I think it has to be both ways actually. Because
Yeah.
a woman, I don't know why we always blame infertility on women. Sometimes it's a man that can have a problem. The only problem is that with men, if it's low sperm count, it's easy, you can easily fix that. That's
Right.
their advantage. Yeah, but with women, if the ovaries have a problem, you can't fix an ovary. You see? That's where the problem is. But otherwise, infertility might be on both ends. So let's not always assume that it's the woman that
Yeah.
has to have
Yeah.
that problem. It's
I
equally
agree.
the man.
I agree.
Yes. And then the second question was on what? Submissiveness?
Yeah. Submissiveness.
It has to be both ways. A man will lead, a woman will follow. But
Right.
it's how you lead.
Right.
If you don't know how to lead, there will be frustration in that marriage.
Right. So define
You,
leading. Just to clarify, what's leading according to a woman's perspective?
according to a woman's perspective, it's how he handles himself in a home. If a man starts misbehaving, for example, there will never be peace in that home if you put in a third party. So you as a man, you have to respect yourself, how you handle yourself, how you treat your wife in front of your children says a lot about you as a man. Because how you're treating your wife, you are leading that home. You are showing your children how they're supposed to treat their future wives. Because most children, when children are growing up, they'll never listen or remember everything that you tell them, but they'll definitely keep in mind everything that they have seen.
Right.
So
Okay,
if they're
Angie,
always,
can you just name the qualities? Because it's too many words. Like, simplify. Name the qualities of a leader in a marriage. Let me give you an example. Financially stable, financially able to, lead the family with his finances, provide for the wife and kids. That's financially stable, number one. What other qualities? Only qualities, no sentences. 5 qualities of a leader. A husband leader, a male leader in the family.
for me, he has to support my career. He has to be very supportive.
Define supporting your career as in emotionally.
Like, for
What?
example, if I say I plan on like maybe investing in real estate or something like that, like for me on my part, my husband, when I start explaining my dreams, he'll be like, okay, can you write it down? Let's look, what's the way forward here? How do we go from point A to point B?
Or okay, so supportive,
Yeah.
supportive. One. Okay,
Yeah.
so supportive. Quality number 2.
He has to be smart, of course.
Intelligent. Number 3.
Yeah. You have to be friends. Definitely friends.
Okay.
Even in as much as there's respect, but you have to be the type of person who should be able to sit and talk and laugh. You
Okay.
know?
The next point.
I think those are the main things.
All right. Okay. So you haven't talked
for
about
me.
money. You haven't talked about money. You haven't talked about emotional maturity.
Definitely money is a big issue.
But why didn't you talk about it?
Money is a big issue.
Why didn't you talk about it?
It didn't click.
What do you mean it didn't click?
Definitely money is a big issue. I thought it's an assumption that everybody should know.
No, we need to teach people. We need to teach the women what to look for. So for me, a leader is somebody who's financially capable of taking care of not only the kids alone, but the wife. The
Yes.
wife and the kids. Let's say because to me, honestly, I wouldn't want a woman who's working. That's just me. But anyway,
I
that's
respect
for
your opinion.
that's for another story. But you know, I should be able to like provide money for upkick and something which is equivalent to salary, whatever. Because I'm not going to be with a woman who's probably like spending a lot of time at work. She doesn't really have time for the kids. Me and so basically, that's what I want. So a man has to be able to sort of you know, lead financially, provide for the woman, the kids, whatever, vacation, school fees, everything. He has to like do all those things. So financially stable. Number two, emotionally and mentally mature. You know, can be able to protect even, you know, physical aspect. You know, let's say for example you're walking, you get mugged. He needs to protect you, and all that stuff. Those are the characteristics of a leader. That's what I would assume if I just had to break it down. But anyway, Angie, thanks a lot for this conversation. Let me add some more people to the line.
Thank you so much.
All right. Okay. Benny, are you a woman or a man?
I'm a woman.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't see that because you've got Benny as your name. Why is your name Benny?
Because it's Benny.
Ah, okay. Oh, okay. It's just a masculine name. Okay, so what's your marital status?
I'm single, dating. I'm a single mom and dating.
You're a single mom, right? So how old is your kid?
15, almost 16.
15, almost 16. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. What's your contribution?
Okay. First part is the Bowman Lusambo and the Mercy girl. I think for
who's
me,
to blame?
I'll blame the girl. In Bemba, we say already I've been prosecuted because I posted something. This is what I posted.
All right.
In Bemba, we say each okay.
Right.
She had the first child. From the time that she got pregnant, she called him and told him she's pregnant. What did he say? Congratulations. Did he go to visit her? No. They communicated, they were communicating up to the time she even gave birth. Not once did he even send her money to say, go for antenatal, do this kashtefia mwana. She should have been seeing those signs, but she was not. Secondly, she had the second child. Same situations. Then she had to go and have a third child. And these, if you remember what she said, they were twins. One died. And again, if more than number 4. Because this is bulldozer we are talking about.
Yeah, wait a minute. You said that she had twins and then one died.
Yes, you should go through that conversation. She had
Bowman, because Bowman has got some other twins.
She said, what's the name of the child? Lusambo were twins. One died.
Okay. I mean, I'm not really laughing that one died. You know, like my condolences. I'm talking about the fact that Bowman had twins with this lady, and he's also got twins with his woman. So Nangula Kana.
So she had the third, fourth child. The other one died. And this is the man who, the first time he had a child, the second time, the third, okay, yes, they were cohabiting or whatever, but can you even go ahead and open your legs for another child and you even fall pregnant? I am.
So let me play devil's advocate, because a lot of people are saying she's coming from a very vulnerable background. So she was desperate to get out of.
Good. That's desperation, which we women should run away from. I was even laughing, and I was even telling my mom that if only we can bring up children who, I know I'm not perfect. I went the wrong way.
I mean, nobody's perfect. Neither am I.
To the point where they met, they bumped into each other, exchanged numbers. She didn't have a phone. By some I think akushitira phone. And for me, I feel like I think akushitira phone because she didn't have a phone. Okay, this is the man who says he can buy me a phone. And yes, went and bought her a phone, not an expensive phone. Because she said he bought me a small phone and sent her a 50 kwacha. women are so desperate, girls are so desperate. I don't know how I can describe it, but it's so pathetic to think of someone going to sleep with someone just because vampera 50 kwacha vamushana kafoni akanono. Yes, we have. I have heard of girl children who have come from very vulnerable situations, but they are doing better. But my question is, what was wrong with this girl? Is it that she was so bad that she fiance? And I went as far as saying in one of the comments, I went as far as saying that I would rather if I hear, and this is, I know this will crucify me.
Yeah. They'll come for you. Be prepared.
But hey, this is the fact. Right. Ni sweet talker, and by accident or by like you find that you are pregnant. I think for me, God crucify me, people crucify me, I'd rather abort than go ahead and have that child. I know what I've been through with my son, so I wouldn't want to bring another child into this world. Habit for 2 months, 3 months. This man used to go. I'm a red flags. Yeah, but I don't know why she wasn't reading them. This man would cut her cause. Nangula mama meetings. We know of guys who are in meetings. Now we now do a meeting in a tight situation, but when a call comes in, I'll cut, reply to it. Then afterwards, I'll remember to call that person, especially if this is the person I love. It's different. But the red flags were there. But not just because she was in this house, that's why women, we should learn to do something. I don't know. I was shaking my head when you were saying you wouldn't want your woman to be working. But there's something about a woman who works hard and makes her own money. There's just something. And for me, I think, I know I'm a woman, but there's just something sexy about that.
Yeah, the reason why I'm saying I wouldn't want a woman who's working. I wouldn't want a woman who's working for like some other company and all that stuff. But let's say we have a business. It's our business. We're building our empire. That goes. Not whereby she works for a certain company. She's too tired. She comes back home. She's, you know these things. Especially to those people who've been married before, they know what we're talking about.
There's a woman from Proverbs. Some people will come with. They'll say no, she has to wait. She has to do this. She has to make clothes for her husband. She has to till the land for the family. That's a woman. That's a woman we need to see now. Not one akashua kwa yes, I came from a very underprivileged family. And to make matters worse, family yakwe. And she used to ignore and say because they don't see anything. Even my family, they'll complain. And it's up to me to do the right thing.
I see. Yeah, anyway, we'll find out what the situation is. But anyway, let's talk about, because I ask personal questions when you come through. When you come through here, we'll be asking some personal questions. So how can women be able to know how to pick the right partner, especially to have children with? What things do you wish you knew? Because you are saying that did you have kids out of wedlock?
I have one.
You had one kid out of wedlock, right? Or you were married out of wedlock, right? So how? Because I'm sure you wanted to be married and spend time with your husband and your kids and all that, just having a traditional marriage.
When you're growing up, there's that. When I want to finish school at this age, I want to go to college, university, I want to start working, get married, I want to have 3 kids by the age of so and so and so. But it didn't work out like that. Here I was. I had my son when I was almost 22, like a month to 22.
Yeah.
Still staying with my parents. Then after a while, I decided to major into something.
Definitely. Granted, we understand. So what things do you wish you knew in order for you to choose the right life partner? And by the way, why didn't it work out? Before I answer the next question, first of all, I want to find out, why didn't it work out?
A lot of factors. He went out of the country. I remained here. Lost communication. Yeah.
Okay, so basically it was due to the fact that it was there was a communication breakdown. But does he financially support the kids?
Yeah, he is.
All right. Okay. So when it comes to like kids, he's providing for them, right?
It's one. He is providing for him.
Yeah, he is. Okay. Okay. So boom. Okay. All right. Cool. So what things do you wish you knew that could have made you have a traditional home whereby the husband is available, you as the wife, you're also available, you're raising this kid, and everything is going on like the way a traditional marriage should be? What things could you have done different if you knew what you knew now, if you knew what you know now?
First and foremost, even though I started dating after I had completed school, I was about 19. I should have known better than to get into relationships then. I should have waited until I was in my 20s, more mature and more understanding to certain situations.
So when you say you wish you could have known better, did your parents teach you these things? Were you communicating with your parents about, these things?
I remember there were times when we would talk about having peace, your menstrual cycle starting, not being around guys, and they'll tell you, ngawapishe school, then you do this. So for me, I thought it's normal to start dating after I graduate from secondary school. But I should have known to say there's more to life than starting dating at that age. I should have waited a little longer.
Right. Okay, cool. Granted. So what things do you wish you knew then?
A lot.
Yeah, just name the few things in 3 sentences.
I wish I had known to wait on the right time. I should have known to see the right characteristics in my partner.
What are the right characteristics in a partner? Help the girls out there choose the right people. Name the 5 qualities, the top 5 qualities.
He should be a leader.
Define a leader, because that's very vague.
A leader is somebody who is able to go ahead and do things, whether told or not told. He should lead by example. Not balabala and no, I'll do this and doesn't do this. No, I'm supposed to do that. I'm somebody who goes ahead and does things even before they are told to do them.
Okay, what are those things? Like, because that's very vague. Oh, okay, let me give you one. Financially stable. Quality. Financially stable. That's like, financially stable. He can provide for you and the kids.
Yes, at least should be able to provide for me and the kids. And this is where a lot of people get it wrong. Okay. A man should be able to do something. Not just because there's a word hustler and there he is hustling, but should be it should be a stable business or stable job.
Right. Okay.
We should be able to see the fruits of your labor.
Right.
At
so
with a plastic
financially stable. Sorry for cutting you off because you're becoming long-winded. So financially stable, let's move over to the next quality, because I want the people out there, especially the girls who are just beginning to date, let them have a clear roadmap and a clear picture of what to look for. So financially stable. Point number 2.
Understanding.
Okay.
Loving.
So,
caring. And the most important is you should marry your partner should be your best friend, somebody you should be able to talk to, discuss with anything. Now, if you you should be able to go to your partner and say, Daddy, this is what happened. Daddy, this is what I'm going through. And your partner will understand. Will scold you and scold you with love. But will scold you, sit you down and tell you, you are wrong, you are right. Let's do, but what are we going to do after this?
Right. Okay, cool. So let's talk about submissiveness in women. Because when we talk about submissiveness, right? Women are submissive depending on what type of man they are dealing with.
Yes.
Now, it's because you know a certain caliber man can make you be submissive, while another man can't make you to be submissive.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you feel you need to submit to a leader, or
Yes.
you have to be equal?
You need to be. The thing is, and this is a discussion I had with my partner some time back.
Right.
For me to be submissive, I have to be getting something from you for me to be submissive. I can't be submissive to a man whose actions, whose leadership qualities I do not agree with. It's as simple as it is as simple as that. Be the man that you're supposed to be, the man from the Bible, the man God told to that we should. Sorry, I don't know if I'm right or wrong. That we should love him. He should love the woman as God loved the church.
Right.
So if you are that man, it will be so easy for me to be the Proverbs woman who is submissive to you. I can't be submissive to you if you come home drunk and start insulting me in front of your children. Hell no.
Right.
I can't be submissive to you if impia ushove feweka and I'm the one who has to be sourcing for the family. Hell no. I will be submissive to you if we sit down to make a budget for the home. I'll be submissive to you if you take care of the children, the family as a whole. And we are able to relate on a lot of levels. I will be submissive. I won't be submissive if you do other things.
Right. Now, here is the contradiction that you're giving me, Benny. Now, walk with me here. You said a man should be able to provide and cater for the wife and the kids. But if we about a balance, it can be like, the wife is secure and all that stuff. But again, in the beginning, you said that you like working and you want to, sort of have a separate career. So why is it that you feel the need to do that when in actual reality you're going to be looking for a man who's going to be able to like give you some sort of salary, or he's able to provide for both of you and the kids? So why is there need to work when you're going to already be looking for a man who can do that? Why do you need to be spending 9 hours, 10 hours? You come back late, you don't have time for your kids because you're working in another job, and then he's also able to like give you an equivalent of a salary. Why not just be able to like provide, be the woman of the house and play your role, build his empire, and always have time for him?
We're living in a society where we want the good things in life. We want, as a woman, I want to be able to support my family as well. Where he lacks, I'm able to contribute. I think that's the most important part. Education has become expensive. We want to take the kids to the best schools. Okay. Food baskets. Generally, life has become a bit expensive. So you want to do the best that you can. And the best that you can is by both husband and wife bring their money together, or not together, but me as well contributing to the family needs. I think that's the best way to answer that question for me.
Okay, now let me ask you another question. So, Ilingi, do you understand Bemba?
I'm a Bemba woman.
All right, so Ilingi, to the Umfama stories, there's this lovely couple married. The man and the woman are both working. Everything is all lovey-dovey, it's all good. But boom, the man loses his job. He's down for about 1 year or 2 years or even 6 months. How many times have you heard that, husband, street, the woman stops being submissive and eventually they break out, even, sex is not granted to the man and all that stuff. How many times have you heard that story?
A lot.
A lot. So statistically speaking, if you're also from Modela and that you can also contribute in case the husband, loses his job and all that stuff. Statistically speaking, there is a rare caliber of women who are able to remain submissive when the husband finds himself in some financial situation and he's down for a couple of months or even years. Most of the time, abanakashi vala vutuka ngatala vutuka, it's either she stops being submissive, vale kokubapela too sexy. We've heard these stories a lot of times. Am I lying? Is it correct?
You're right.
So now that you have agreed on that fact, so do you think a wise man would still want to go for a woman who's going to be working and not have time for him? And if anything happens to him, he's still going to have the same outcome.
If he knows what's good for the family, he will accept a working woman. Let me take you back to what you said.
Right.
In most cases, in most situations, there is a way a man used to treat the woman. Okay, yes, they were together, they were both working, but in most cases and most situations, or now personally, there were situations whereby the man was very bad, was very arrogant, was rude, was not loving. So and most women will say, after all, yes, I've supported him for so long, but why? This is your husband. So it's like most of these couples are just staying together to keep up appearances, not because they love each other. That's when that's why the true colors come out, when maybe the man stops working or the wife stops working.
I see. All right. Thanks a lot, Benny. Thank you for supporting us. We'll be looking forward to having you some other time on some other conversations. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Oscar Pombo, welcome back, sir.
Hello, good evening, Mona.
Hi.
And good evening to all the viewers. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you very much.
All right, give us your 2 cents.
Right. I think the argument is still interesting, and I think it can be also educative to many girls, not only girls but also men. I think we are talking about this girl. What is the name?
Mercy.
Mercy. We're talking about Mercy, and but I think there are many girls in her situation. Mona, when I like studying psychology now. When you're talking about a person, I think we have to focus on the status of Mercy's status. Right. I've heard some of the comments from many women on this network. Most of them, they are comparing their lives to what Mercy has gone through, which I personally don't side with that, because we have a person in question. It's Mercy's story. And I think with respect, we need to go and see the historic part of this story. Mercy was very young. She has explained she had the first child. I think she became pregnant when she was just 16 years, and she gave birth to the first child. If I'm wrong, you can correct me. Right. I think she gave birth to the first child in the early 17 years. So In Zambia, Muna, I don't know at the moment whether 17 years you're still an adult, or is it? Are you an adult? 17, or you are?
I think they changed. Maybe Kuma 2021. That's when you can be legally able to like have consensual sex. But I could be mistaken. I don't really know exactly. But Kuma 2019.
Yeah, because here in Europe it is 18 years of age. So right. 17, she is a young girl. And whoever impregnates a girl who is less than 18 years, of course, there are criminal cases to answer because the girl is juvenile. And whoever met, even the lady herself, she should know that she's very young. And the man who goes and impregnates a lady would be also held responsible. Now, the history of this girl is that she was very young. Come on, she was 16 years. Whether it was his first love or not, that is Miss Mercy's story. I don't want to invent my stories or to explain to you the stories that I know. I know many stories, friends, nieces, nephews' stories. I know many of them, but I think I would focus on Mercy's story. Mercy stays, I was very young, and this girl comes from a vulnerable situation where he has no parents. He had no parents with her. Very young, no parents. She was kept by, I think, the grandmother or some other parents that were keeping this girl. That is her story. So, Mr. Moon, I think we need to respect the history of this girl. I cannot judge Mercy by what I live here in Europe, by the stories here in Europe. Actually, that case, if it was here in Europe, of course, the gentleman, Bowman Lusambo, can really swim in hot soup. You understand? It's criminal, first of all, because he was an adult and this girl was a minor. That's why I was saying she gave birth when she was 17, which means she became pregnant when she was 16 years. And the man who gave her pregnancy had more than 18 years of age, which is a criminal offense here in Europe. But I cannot judge our sister Mercy in the terms of what I can judge a girl and a man here in Europe. In Zambia, of course, because I have my nieces and my nephews, Mr. Muna, I have nieces in the same situation. What do I mean? I mean, my nieces who had first child, their boyfriend, he lied to them. I'm going to marry you. You are my dream. You are my future wife. All those silly things that we say. Some of the men, some of the ladies, they live in these funny stories. You are my moon. You are my moonlight. You're my sweetheart, and all these things. And there comes the first child who is innocent. The girl, we cannot say whether she was innocent or not unless she gives us the answer. But I'm judging. I am going to talk about this. I allow myself to talk about this story basing on my personal analysis. So, Mercy was very young. Whether she was, because she's a lady, she could have said no. Mercy has said, I had my first child. This gentleman promised that he was going to marry me. He gave me the second child. Mr. Mona, if you remember, she had the second child when they went to cohabit together. Also, that point, it's so credible for a young girl. She would go for it. My friends, even my friends here in Europe, they'll go for such a marriage. Somebody promises me. He came and stayed with me for 2 years. 2 years they stayed together. That's what she said. We cannot say whether she's saying the truth or not because we haven't heard from Mr. Bowman Lusambo's story. We are just hearing from Mercy's story. So we can judge her. We can aside by what she's telling, but it's just half the story anyway. Anyway, so I think we listen to this girl. We can't judge her whether she's right or not, because the question is still, I think it is now in court. We just hope, my hope is, even the government itself, because we are talking about a honorable, whether we like it or not, it's not a simple question, and it's not just a funny story that we can judge or we can condemn this girl or we can condemn the man, Bowman Lusambo. This case can help many juvenile, Mr. Muna. Even in parliament, myself, how I can wish this story can bring up a law in parliament to look at young girls and who is going to take care of these innocent children when they are given. No, I don't know whether I'm clear what I'm saying. Here in Europe, Mr. Muna, when a young girl gives birth, the father of that girl is supposed to take care of the child. If the father refuses, there comes in the government. The government comes in and obliges the father of the child to take care of the children.
Definitely.
Sorry?
No, definitely. So, Mr. Mpombo, just stay on the line. We're going to get back to you. Let me just fuse in like a few more people. Thanks for your contribution. Just stay on the line. I'll add you back. Let me just get some more opinions. Monique, I hope Monique can hear me because she's been trying to get on. Monique?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you get me?
Yeah, where's your video? We would love to, the audience would love to see you. You're also from sleeping, or you're going to sleep.
Kind of.
All right. Okay. Boom.
I agree with what he said. I don't think it's right for us to blame the lady because, like she said, she was an orphan and she was just staying with her sisters. And you know, I lost my mom when I was 14, and life has been so hard. I have my dad quite alright, and he got married again, but life had been so hard staying with the stepmom and the likes. And I can only imagine how bad it was for her as a double orphan. And she one who has promised her, and I heard another girl who was like blaming her, saying no, she was just desperate because he bought her a phone. The guy sent her a 50, and then she slept with him. If you heard what she said the first time, like when she got, because she said Mr. Bowman wrote down his line on a piece of paper. Then she went home. She actually forgot about him until after a month. She found the same paper. Then she had to call him using her sister's line. Then after calling, they met, and she said on the first meeting they did nothing. That's when he bought her a small phone because she never had a phone the time she was going to visit. It was after I think 11 months that they got to meet again for the second time. Then that's when everything happened. Meaning throughout this 11-month period, they were communicating on phone. And then there were some emotions that sparked up. So her going there had nothing to do with her being desperate. It's obvious maybe during this 11-month period, the man was probably, you know, sweet talking her, telling her nice things. And she said the man has been promising. He's been promising, and others I've seen who have been like blaming her, saying, "No, you got pregnant the first time. How did you not know that he was married for you to have for you to have 4 kids?" She said she never had an idea because they were cohabiting.
But
and for
Monique,
her, she thought, okay, system.
Let me just play the devil's advocate, because Mr. Lusambo has got 2 twins who are older than Mercy Cowham's incoming kid. And it was all over social media, unless she doesn't use social media. You know, if you look at the pregnancy that she has, you know, it's still ongoing. So that means the act was done less than 9 months ago, you know? And during this period of time, it's a well-known fact. We were congratulating Mr. Lusambo that, you know, he's got twins.
Network was Can you come again, please?
Yeah, I was saying that the kid that she's carrying right now, because she's currently pregnant, so that means that the encounter between her and the alleged honorable is a recent one. And a few months ago, because if you look at the twins of Honorable Bowman Lusambo, the twins, the Edgar and Esther, they are quite big right now. And on social media, it was a well-known fact that the Honorable is married. But she went on and had a third kid. So she knew that he was married. So in this case, it's still not her fault. Because this is on the third one. Yeah, I understand. The first one, she was naive. The second one, she thought she was going to get married to him. I understood. But the third pregnancy, clearly, she already knew that this man was married. So in that case, what do you say about that situation? Is it still due to the fact that she was a minor, she didn't know what to do? Is there any self-accountability at least on the third child? Monique, you there? All right, I can't hear Monique. So anyway, Mr. Pombo, can you just answer this question that I asked with regards to the third kid? So the third kid, because she's still pregnant. So the encounter was recent, and Mr. Lusambo's twins, they're already becoming older, and it was a well-known fact on Facebook. Everybody was congratulating him. So in this case, is there any self-accountability to Mercy on the third pregnancy, at least?
Yes. I think on the third pregnancy and on the fourth pregnancy, of course, there are levels of accusations that we can also call Mercy to hold Mercy accountable. Definitely, yes. But as according to what the lady was saying, the first time Mr. Mwewa had that interview with the girl, I think the girl said before the third child, he took the girl and promised that he was going to build a house, or maybe he was going to buy a house which was already built, and so she trusted. The key interpretation of Mercy's story is her background.
Correct.
She's a very vulnerable girl. Very vulnerable girl. And I suspect she doesn't have any other man apart from that gentleman. At the moment, I wouldn't say, but according to what things were looking like, there was no any other man in her life. So it was this guy. He believed in this gentleman. Not like Mr. Muna, as you are saying, probably she would have heard the story on a social network. And I think after the second child, even myself, I think she knew that this guy, there was something strange about his life. She said it. She said when he started coming back, you call me in the morning and you say, okay, man, I was working, hard work and all those things. She knew something strange was happening, but we don't know what the gentleman was explaining to justify his behavior. We don't know.
Mr. Pombo and the viewers out there, do not get me wrong. I'm not saying, I'm not trying to blame Mercy for this situation. All I'm trying to raise awareness is getting other people to learn from this situation, and even for the parents to be able to teach, especially their girl child and girl children, daughters, how to be able to prevent such situations from happening. And yes, we do understand things happen. You could, there are orphans who don't really get the care and all that stuff. But the most important point that we need to know is we should teach also the men as well, because when a man is responsible, he won't father kids and then run and go elsewhere. Because what's going to happen is, if this cycle continues, you see, Mercy has got these kids, they're obviously not going to have a father. These kids are going to grow up as well without having a father as well. And they are also most likely going to end up in her situation. So if we teach both our females and our males how to be responsible, whereby a man is taught, look, before you marry a girl, you need to be financially stable. You need to be ready. In case you father kids, you need to take care of them. Because if you don't take care of them, you are going to create offsprings that are most likely going to be very vulnerable.
Mr. Muna, on that point, you are underlining mostly the financial stable person.
Right.
Mr. Muna, you have no guarantee. A man cannot guarantee. Look at the status of the unemployment in Zambia now. Let's face reality. Who can promise a young girl to say he is financially stable? Are you telling me that the men, they cannot get married, they cannot get in love, they cannot fall in love, they cannot get married because they are not financially stable? Mr. Muna, I am not for that position, because when there is love, I think you can love a woman, you can love a man, even if he does not promise you that he has a very good a bank account.
Sir, let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Let's assume do you have daughters?
No, I don't have.
Okay, let's assume you had kids.
Yes.
There are two men who are proposing to this daughter.
Yes.
One is financially stable, he's got a business, and he's well off. And then there's another guy, and granted, he's got a good heart. He's very smart, mature, he's empathetic, he's a very good man, but he's financially stable. Then we also have another man who's got the same characteristics as this other guy. He's got a good heart, he is mature, he's empathetic, but the only difference is he's not financially stable. If you had a daughter, who would you give your daughter to marry between the two? Granted, everything else is the same. Character, emotions, empathy, everything is the same. The only difference is one is not financially stable, the other one is financially stable. Who would you give your daughter to marry?
Humanly speaking, or from the point of view of an African culture, we would give my daughter, my son, to a person who can show that he is financially stable, he has a very good job, and things like that. I think our parents, Mr. Muna, they made these mistakes. My sisters, my brothers, they did follow such a habit. And my sisters, they got married to men who they thought they were financially stable. But the problem is, it's not the finance that guides a family. It's the true love. I see the two women who spoke before me, they were saying, a man that loves me, a man that cares for me. Mr. Muna, here in Europe, we help the young people to grow together. A boy and a girl, they should learn to sustain themselves, and they don't depend on their parents' wealth. The parents themselves, they teach the young people to be self-sustainable. What does that mean? The first vehicle they buy here in Europe, it's a vehicle which they get the debt, the money they get it from the bank. A young man of 18 years, he gets the first money from the bank, not from the father to buy a car, but from the bank, because he is 18 years. When he reaches 30 years, Mr. Muna, he has paid the price of the car. The same thing for the house. The first house, young people here, they get the credit from the bank and they pay that house in 20 years' time. So you are 18 years, you get money from the bank, you start constructing a house, which you are going to pay in 20 years' time. This time that you are now going to pay slowly, you have a girlfriend, you have a boyfriend, and you grow together. You help each other, Mr. Muna. Not money. It's not a guarantee. This is a big mistake.
Well, I'm not saying money is the end all be all, but it plays a key role, sir. We can ask the ladies. Is there any lady here? Let me add Angie. Let's get the opinion of Angie here. Angie, welcome back.
Hi.
Are you hearing the conversation? So
I am actually.
So what role does financial stability play in a marriage?
It plays a big role, but before I answer that, I would like to share from my experience what had happened. When I met my husband, everyone discouraged me from marrying him because they thought he was a very poor man. And the most unfortunate part is that during the 1 year when we were getting to know each other, he never used to give me money. He never used to spoil me. He never used to do anything. So most of my friends would be like, you need to be very careful because this man, you'll end up suffering or you'll end up taking care of him. Okay? But
How
I
old was the
told
man,
myself,
Angie? How old was the man?
he was 36, 37 by then.
Okay.
So I was working and I was making my own money. So I had it in my head that because I love this man, I will build with him. Okay? If we should ever marry, I will build with him because I personally see myself as a woman of vision. So I would even tell him in the relationship, if you are poor here in marriage, you just have to have money. You will make your money. You get it? And everyone was against him. People would laugh at me. Oh, that man is poor. Oh, that man is poor. But do you know what happened after we got married? When we started doing our taxes, it was then that I actually discovered that the man was not poor, but he just didn't know how to show that he had money. The man was making over $70 an hour. So I only walked into money without even knowing that I was walking into money. So sometimes if you're looking at money as a basis of marriage, that is very dangerous. I was going into that marriage knowing very well that I'm married to a poor man. And how I suspected at one point was during a function when one of his friends was telling me that you need to be careful. I'm trying to protect my friend because you might be using him. Now I'm wondering, using him with what? Because even a simple
Angie,
$20, he can't
let me
give
ask
me.
you. So where was he staying? Because maybe he was just pretending not to have money. But what type? Because sometimes what women usually do is before they can even talk to you, they assess you. They look at your shoes. They see whether if you met like in a restaurant. So before you even start dating a man, there has to be certain criteria. Like a bum wouldn't just you wouldn't just go out with a bum. You already assess the likelihood of a man. Even when you go to his place, you say, okay, he's got a good place, but maybe he's just broke. He's got a good car and all that stuff. Unless you're telling me that he was living in a shitty apartment. Was he living in a shitty?
At that time, he was living in a one-room apartment, very simple man. And whenever he would dress in things like t-shirts and jeans or.
Where was the apartment located? Because one-room apartment like in Manhattan is still expensive. Where was the apartment located?
We're in California, so he was located in one-room apartment in California, and it was not an area where prestigious people do live.
How much is the rent per month?
My brother, right now.
No, as in California at that time, in that same one-room apartment.
No, at that time I didn't know, but right now we're living in an apartment that's about $2,300.
Yeah. Okay. So can you assume that the price of the apartment he was how much it was worth that time? Because these things matter, because let's say, for example, the apartment was worth, I don't know, $2,000. That's still expensive. $1,500.
No,
it was less than.
It was less than that. And he did appear to be a very simple man,
Right.
So even when people would look at him or meet him or whenever we would go out and stuff like that, they used to laugh.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
like she'll be the one taking care of this man because she looks like she'll be the one making the money. But now in the end, what has happened? I'm the one relaxing and he's the one doing all the providing.
Exactly. So, let me ask you another question. Let's say, for example, he wasn't able to financially provide in the next 5 to 10 years. Would you still stay with him?
That's why I said in the beginning, I explained to say that I got into this marriage knowing that I was dating a broke man. And I personally told him in the relationship, if you are poor, it will end here. Because as we are entering this marriage, because I'm a woman of vision, that vision will equally manifest in you.
Yes.
You
So
get
money
it?
does still play a key role, right?
It does play a role, but it's not the most important thing.
Yes. Yes, of course, it's not the most important thing, but if you
Yes,
had to have like a graph, it's there. You know, it's
it's
like it's
if I
definitely
had to
one of
have,
the.
that's why earlier on when you asked me on the qualities of a man, money did not come into place because I have it in my head that if he can make that money, I will make that money for him. Because right now, whatever I make, he sees. Whatever he makes, I see. So we both have access. We have a joint account. So there's transparency. His money is my money is his money. That's how it
Yeah.
should work in a marriage. You know, that thing of only a man should be a provider or the main provider. No, that's not right. I think that's now in the past. Those days are gone. At
Yeah,
this
but
point, even a woman can make more money than a man and there'll still be respect in the home.
statistically speaking, it's impossible, or there are few women who can be submissive to a man who they are better than. If a man gets a higher salary than a man, if a woman gets a higher salary than a man, the submissiveness is not the same.
Mr. Muna, that word submissive, it's not good.
And you know
No,
what, Mr. Muna? You know what? Just to add on top
Okay.
of
no.
this, you should know one thing. Most women that are in the diaspora make way more money than their husbands in Zambia. That's just a fact. But from the people that I've seen who are still married to their husbands, who are still back home in Zambia, they still respect. And whenever, like I had a friend, whenever she would get paid, the first thing she would do is call her husband, honey, the money has got in. What do we do next? So there was always that mutual respect. Even though the husband is not here, she'll always consult her husband back home. The money is in. What's next? Where are we going with this money? What are we doing with this? Huh? Even when he's not on phone with her, she will still speak highly of him. And yet he's making how much? Is it a 7,000 kwacha? That money is what she's making in a day here in the States. So
Right.
I don't think submission should be in line with money. That's not fair.
No, guys, come on.
Stop
Don't get
that
me
word.
wrong.
That
Don't get
word
me
of
wrong. I'm not
submission.
saying I'm not saying money is the only thing. I'm saying it's one of the big three or the big five. It's one of the big five qualities. I'm
I
telling you.
think I would rather go for things like mutual love, mutual respect, you know,
Yeah.
things like that. Because,
All
like
right.
I told you, when I was getting into this marriage, I knew that this man was broke. And the
But
truth is, the moment I got into it, not only did he have the money, but he ended up even making twice the money that he was making.
okay, but Mr. Pombo and Angie, I have seen statistics of people who are like, oh, they're like 80, 60. They say love, having a long relationship doesn't have anything to do with love. Because at some point, the butterfly is in your tummy that you have, it's going to run out.
Yes, they
You
do.
know,
That's very true.
those things that you think is going to run out. You know, so those are the things that you are also supposed to consider. You know,
But
sometimes
the
it's all
money,
about duty.
the
I
money
think
equally runs out.
I think Mrs. Angie, you can understand, especially me. I'm talking from the European style of life, for example. By the way, Mr. Moon, I like counseling. I do the counseling, family counseling.
All right.
So yeah, so I like philosophy and psychology materials,
Yeah.
and so that's why I'm saying certain words. We used to focus on those words. I think long time ago. Nowadays, especially when even in Zambia, when the youth, the young people are a little bit educated, they have gone to school. Our president, Mr. Hakainde Chilema, is saying we need to take the people to go to school. One of the benefits of school is to curb out illiteracy, Mr. Muna. Mr. Muna, illiteracy is one of the enemies in marriages, illiteracy. Because like Mrs. Ange was saying, mutual love, mutual respect, I think it's fundamental. Money, it is useful. It's useful. Even for me, I need some money because I need to eat in the morning, at lunch, and in the evening.
Right.
But if I don't eat in the morning, lunch, and evening, Mr. Muna, I'm still Oscar. And I think I would look a gentleman all the same.
Yeah.
It doesn't change anything from me.
Yeah, it doesn't change. So, Mr.
If
Mpombo,
if I don't respect you, Mr. Muna, if I don't respect you, that is a matter. That's a matter.
right, Mr. Pombo, which woman would you choose? A woman who loves you and doesn't respect you, or a woman who respects you and loves you?
I think who can have both qualities, love and respect. I think they are fundamental in bringing up a relationship.
Exactly.
And trust. And trust.
And trust. True. So, statistically speaking, which marriages were much more successful? Those in the olden days, like from our grandmothers and grandfathers era, in comparison to modern day. Which marriages are more successful, and which ones have got less divorce rates?
All right. I would say I'll use the saying in Mbemba. Inganda yamunobe bayikumbwa umutenge. Inganda yamunobe bayikumbwa umutenge, Mr. Muna. So when you look at the couples of nowadays, the difference that they can show is that they are flourishing with a very lovely vehicles, and posh clothes, and some of them they can even show some legs here and there, and big boobs and all those things. Our parents, the style of life of our parents, it was traditional. So I would be wrong, Mr. Muna, if I said it is better modern family in comparison with old style family. I think I would be wrong, but I would say there are advantages and disadvantages.
But let's use statistics. Statistics only.
In both ages, Mr. Muna, in both ages, there are positive and negative aspects which we can learn from.
Yeah, but statistically speaking, sir, there was less divorce rates in the, from our grandfather and grandmother's era in comparison to modern days. The reason that is, at that time, the women didn't have as many rights as they have. They don't have the same equal opportunities in terms of making almost the equivalent money. And this influenced their submissiveness. You see, when it comes to like relationships and marriages, can I finish?
Do you know how they suffered? Our mother, my mom, suffered
Mr. Muna.
Right.
You need to understand that
they never used to speak.
Yes, they never
They
used to speak.
suffered a lot.
Even if there was abuse in the home, they would never let the neighbors know. Most people in those days stayed in marriages because they wanted society to look at it in a positive way. And every time a child would decide to go home, the parents would send them right back to their husbands because they were scared that they would be embarrassed. If you sit down and ask your grandparents nicely, or even your mothers nicely, they will sit and explain to you how their fathers would abuse them, their grandfathers would abuse their grandmothers, and there was so much abuse taking place and rape cases taking place within the homes. It is that at that time, people never used to speak, you see? But at this point, this generation has learned to speak up. That's why there are more people choosing divorce over abusive marriages. They would rather be alone, people would laugh, instead of them staying in a marriage where they are not happy, their children are being raped and abused. That's not right. So you can't really compare our
But-
parents' marriages to ours because everything had advantage and disadvantages.
That's a different argument of rape. I'm just talking about divorce rates and the success of marriages. Like if you bring in abuse, that's a different conversation that I'm not touching. I'm just talking about simply divorce rates and successful marriages without looking at divorces, abuse,
Ramuna.
rape.
Ramuna, you can't look at our parents' marriages without looking at those situations. Most people who stayed in those marriages, vale shipikishafie. So where do you think? And they had nowhere to go. That's just the truth. Majority of the people at that time, of the women, were not even educated. It was the men who were educated. They were the head of the house. They had to sit home. Mothers had to sit home and take care of their children. So even if they said, let me stand up, I go, where were they going to go?
Mm-hmm. Okay, I hear you, but according to my own understanding, and according to what a lot of people who've stayed in marriage for 50 plus years, a lot of them say that love has got nothing to do with a long-lasting relationship. It's all about duty. A man plays his role, the woman plays his role. Love fades. And if you look at our, the people who've stayed together for a long time, sometimes but everybody knows what role they're supposed to play. The man knows what role he plays. The woman also knows what role she plays. And, they make things work because love eventually runs out. You're not always going to have bubbles in your tummy, and you're always going to have like a situation whereby you just come to a stalemate where you just accept, okay, this is my wife. Even though I don't really love her as much as I did, I'm obligated to carry out these roles as a husband. Those are the statistics coming from people who've stayed in marriages for a very, very long time. The other point that I wanted to ask you is, or rather question is, why do you think when men become successful, why do they use and older, why do they usually go for younger women? Let's say, for example, Rupiah Banda is like one classic case. Why do you think men, when they become older and when they become financially stable, why do they go for younger women?
Can I answer?
Yeah, you can.
All right. The men that go for the younger women, because of the younger women, they're still trying to curve or to realize their dreams. A younger lady is thinking of the dream, maybe hasn't have even a house. She doesn't have maybe a personal vehicle, personal properties. So elderly, stable men, they guarantee a young girl that financial stability that you have been talking about.
And in turn, in turn, what do they get?
And in turn, they get that juvenile and innocent and conditional love.
They get submissiveness.
And I think, let us just go straight forward. We call a spade a spade. An old man would go for a young girl probably only for sex.
Well,
not for love, but for sex.
well,
Why?
I would say submissiveness, because the younger girl is more likely to, not to like arguing with him back and forth, because he's got the leverage, he's got the financial leverage, and to the girl, she looks at him as like a fatherly figure. He's this all-knowing type of man, and this is one of the reasons why they usually go for younger women, because younger women are much more submissive to them, especially when a man has really built him. He's going to have less headaches, because men don't want.
A young woman would be happy with a vehicle. You buy a vehicle for a young girl, should be happy. A matured woman has a lot of things to think about. If she has even children, she doesn't even dream of having or driving a beautiful vehicle. She's looking already to invest her resources in educating the children. So I think elderly men, they cannot go to an elderly woman, because an elderly woman now will
cause the same friction. The older woman will be, they'll be sort of conflicting. There won't be submissiveness. Even like, for example, when you marry your age mate, there's going to come a point where there's going to be like a conflict in terms of power structure. This is a known fact. There's going to be power structure. That's why, statistically speaking, when a man marries his age mate or somebody who's older than him, usually when after some time he lets go of the situation, and then he finds somebody who's younger. These are the statistics, facts. And then he finds somebody who's much more, going to be able to like listen to him, respect him. But if you have your own age mate, this is one of the reasons why we are told to, marry younger women, because when you marry a younger woman, right, you've got an advantage over her. You're more financially stable, you've got more experience, you're smarter than her, so she's not really going to be conflicting. But when it comes to having the same woman, your age mate, she's going to be able to like oppose whatever you're saying. She's going to so the main reason is submissiveness, respect, you having advantage over her, and just being able to like control the situation. That's why we are encouraged to marry a woman who's younger, so that we've got an advantage over her, and she looks up to us. She's able to like follow our lead. But if you marry the same girl, same age mate, there's going to be a conflict in power. I'm talking about statistics.
Psychologically speaking, Mr. Muna, psychologically speaking, a young lady matures earlier than a young man. So when you marry 18 years, man and female, they marry together, the lady is much more matured than a man, and probably that's why for in terms of here in Europe, we are talking about the maturity. An elderly man would probably match a 4-year younger lady. So the level of maturity probably can balance in that case. Anyway, for me to go out of this beautiful program, Mr. Mona, I would love maybe to underline and to make an a request. I think this case, it's very interesting to help many young girls who are undergoing the same situation of Mercy, if not even worse. If at all such a question, of course, we have to wait until Bowman Lusambo can pronounce himself. As long as from him nothing is coming out, I think I cannot allow myself to say many other things. All I can suggest is this: the plight of young girls who are not yet matured, when they are having children, the government should come up with a law, with a constitution, which they can go and help them. Here, for example, in Europe, the government, if the man does not go to the hospital and accept the paternity of the child, the government comes in and they are going to help the baby mama. They are going to help her, even for the children. And if the baby mama cannot sustain herself, they will give that child to the social assistance and certain groups, non-governmental groups. Okay, now in terms of Zambia, I think there is nothing like that. So this is my plea. Let the government think about this case. Come out with some implementation or with some laws to sustain our innocent young girls who get pregnant as early as 16 or 17 years of age. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Oscar. Viora Mayova, how you doing? And how's the US now?
I'm doing all right, Mona. It's been raining, continuously here for the past 24 hours. So, yeah.
All right. Okay, so what's your contribution?
Yes.
Today we talked about a lot of things. I'm sure you're probably just laughing at us saying,
I know.
Tell us your experience
No,
now.
we have, yes, I am here. Really, I don't know, I'm frustrated, man, with this young woman. You know, when I look at what is happening in Zambia, it is embarrassing to even know that the father of that girl, that young lady, is a minister in parliament. Eh? That's just that alone sets a very bad precedent. You know what I mean? Mr. Lusambo is a married man. And so that young lady should not be held accountable for him, for her. Should not be accountable for that man's mistakes, because the only person who knew that they were going into this relationship married was him, and the other lady was being lied to. That young woman, she was taken advantage of. And I've seen people writing here blaming the young lady. No, that woman was young. And now, okay, she made mistakes, but there's kids involved now, 4 of them. That young lady is very pregnant. What is going to happen? Because we have non-government organizations in Zambia. This topic has been going on for probably, I don't know, I don't even remember anymore. They've been quiet. Why are they quiet? That young lady is screaming help. She's very pregnant. Let's not blame that young lady. Yes, she's made mistakes. But let's look at what this whole situation. She has kids there being taken care of somebody in the village, while the father is there, is a minister in parliament. Well, what is this saying to everybody? And then the other thing, we have created a system in Zambia where if you don't have money, if you are not financially stable, you are not a good enough man to marry a woman, which is why we have all these young ladies going out with married men because they have money. Oh, he's rich, he's that, he'll do this for me. These are the situations us, the people here, there in Zambia, are creating for ourselves. Because if a man doesn't have money in Zambia, that one doesn't exist. They are all fighting for their, the haves. The haves, how many do we have in Zambia? Because if you look at what is happening now, you can easily see that the men who have money in Zambia are very few. And there's a lot of women out there. Yes. Now, if they're all going to be fighting for the same men, what is going to happen? You tell me. Because I've heard, oh no, somebody who is financially stable. What about those who are not stable and yet they are responsible enough to be husbands?
Yes, but Mrs. Mayova, let me just play devil's advocate. And statistically speaking, this is a fact. Fewer men are responsible for procreation. There's the 1%. This is why even people who make a lot of money, there's just a few people who make a lot of money, and there's a few men who are attractive to most women, if you get my point. So this is one of the reasons why, they are sort of they seem to be attractive to these few individuals with money. And from a way women are made, women are designed to seek the very best men, the men who can provide, the men who've got money. A long time ago, without financials, right, they were looking for the tallest man, the man who could farm a lot, the man who could chase an impala and catch the food. That's just how the DNA of a woman, thinks. A woman is going to biologically want a man who's going to be able to protect, provide, and cater to her. And unfortunately, these men are few, because only a few men are top tier men. only a few men are able to be the 1% or the 10%. And that's why women, from their psychological and DNA point of view, they gravitate towards these men. And these men have got so much women coming after them. So they have children out of wedlock and all that stuff. So from a biological point of view, women can't help it but go for the man who's got a lot of resources, a man who's attracted, or rather is attractive to a lot of females. If you look at modern day dating, a woman is not going to, there's a few women who are going to date you when nobody else is interested in you. So in order for you to get a woman nowadays, you have to have, or rather you have to be able to be attractive to a lot of other women as well. That's a fact. Because if you're not attractive, no other woman wants you. Why would a woman want to be with you? Women want to be with a man who other women want. That's just the fact. That's how women, roll. That's the DNA. So when this situation comes into play, right, you find that men with few resources are the ones who are like, having access to the most amount of women. And, if a woman is not really taught to avoid this perception, they're going to end up like, Mercy. So I was just playing the devil's advocate here.
Yes. And then I think our young women, they need to learn to be independent. They don't have to depend on a man, even if that man is rich, and especially if he's married. They can also build their own futures themselves. They are human beings too. Anything a man can do, a woman can also do.
Right. Exactly. So according to your own experience, and when do you think is the right time to teach women these things, especially the girl child?
Come again.
When do you think is the right time to teach girl children and even males how to find a life partner? The character of a man they should look for, and what qualities they should be going for.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know there in Zambia, but here in the United States, my sons started learning about sex and other things when they were only 12 years old. So, but I don't know about Zambia because I left there a very long time ago. So I'm not sure here they teach everything in class, but I don't know if they teach the kids there in Zambia how to become independent. Because those are things that are learned in class here, in school here. The kids, they go to school and they teach them those things. I think.
How about parents? Do they play any role?
Well, in my time, yes. The parents, yes, we do. I talk. Sometimes I get embarrassed when my kids come home and when they were only, because right now they are teenagers now. It's okay. I feel comfortable. But there was one time when my 11-year-old came home. And he started asking me, Mom, how does it happen? How does a girl and a sex? I said, who told you that? He said, well, that's what we're learning in class. And so, can I make a girl pregnant? I said, you didn't ask this whole thing. Go and ask that question. I was very uncomfortable, but like today, I'm comfortable because those are things I talk about. When my boys will come home and they'll tell me, Mom, this girl has been following me, but I don't want her. I tell you, have you told her that you don't want her? He goes, no. I said, well, then tell her. Just be frank, because you don't want to waste her time. Just tell her. And somehow, no. It's not lying to her. She was talking because boys have been stalking. I said, no, tell her the truth. Tell her you're not interested. And then when they come home the next day, I'll ask them again, did you talk to the girl? He goes, yes. Did you tell her? Yes, I told her. What did she say? She said, well, she complained, but eventually she left me alone. I said, yes. They're going forward, Lynn, to tell the person, early on, if you don't like them, tell them, no, I don't want you. Because, here, it's normal for even young girls to go and, tell a boy, I like you. And when they are saying, I like you, they are not saying they like them for anything else. They like them to make them their boyfriends and girlfriend to be together. That's what they mean.
Definitely. Your audio is breaking up. I think you're having problems with the network. So
I think
I can't
I think
hear
it's the
you.
network.
Yes, yes. You're breaking up. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're having issues with Mrs. Moyovo. She's a very great supporter of ours. And just like I keep on telling you, right? We're not meant to agree with one another. We have different opinions, we've got different points of views, and this is what makes us unique. But the most important reason why I wanted us to have this conversation is in order for us to highlight why we need to teach our children how to make decisions such as how to find a wife, how to find a husband, what type of characters should your wife or your husband have. And we need to start teaching them these things early, because nowadays people, or rather kids, have got access to technology, they've got access to the internet, there's pornography, there's all that stuff. So by the time they become, or rather get to 16, a lot of these kids are doing things which are despicable. So if you do not really play your role as a parent, as a guardian, you're just going to end up having a situation where your children are naive. So this is one of the reasons why we should teach our males, to be responsible. When you make a girl pregnant, take care of the kid, because if you don't take care of the kid, that kid is going to grow up in a vulnerable state where, honorables, people who are older than you are going to take advantage of you because you want to have a fatherly figure. And by the way, when it comes to women who are growing in a society, or rather in an environment where there isn't a masculine energy, where the father isn't up, where the father is not really present, or there's like a lack of masculine energy, a lot of them usually tend to look for older men who sort of replaces that yearning they were having for the missed father. And this is one of the reasons why, if you look at this Mercy Cowham situation, even though we do not really know the fact, right? The reason why she was most likely gravitating towards Mr. Lusambo, allegedly, reportedly, is due to the fact that she was lacking a male sort of figure, somebody who's going to provide that masculine energy. So if there was a man who was 17 or 20, he couldn't have provided that masculine energy that Honorable Bowman Lusambo was able to provide. So this is one of the reasons why, especially you parents with daughters out there, right? You need to be a shining example. You need to be the masculine energy in your kids, so that they can be able to emulate and look for qualities that you have in the life partner that they are going to be able to choose. So all these things, these are the questions and conversations that we are supposed to be having. We need to talk about these things, let the people know what type of qualities they are supposed to be looking for, because a lot of times here in Zambia, a lot of people usually learn as they go, because we've already had practical examples. The previous men were saying, my parents didn't teach me anything. I had to learn by myself. And this is what happened here and there. So this is one of the reasons why having these conversations is very important. And sometimes I go out of, direction just in order for me to get the responses from people. Sometimes I play the devil's advocate just to, add diversity to the conversation. Because I know a lot of you were raising your eyebrows saying, boys, what is he saying? But it really adds more sort of dimensions to the conversation, because if we just have a one-sided conversation, right, you're not literally going to be able to look at the different aspect of it. So this is one of the reasons why sometimes I tackle and go in different angles that really help you see things from a different perspective as well. So the moral of the story is conversations, dialogues, educating our kids, making sure that they understand, if you bring in kids on this particular earth, as a man, you're supposed to be responsible. Don't run away from your problems. Okay. The reason why a lot of males have got the audacity to actually father a kid and then disappears, because it's not really part of their moral fiber. It's not really part of their ethics. They can just produce a child and then just continue going on with their life like that, without even having any remorse or any moral rude awakening, if I can put it that way. So this is one of the reasons why we need to go back to the basics. We need to go back to the beginning of the story. Why is this woman lacking masculine energy in her life? life? Why isn't there any guidance? If she's an orphan, or if she's vulnerable, how can we make this education widely available at schools, in society? Let's make these conversations public. Let's be able to disseminate this information for everybody to have access to. And it's very possible. If we correct this situation, I'm telling you, the next 20 to 40, 50 years will be better. We're going to have, a better society. We're going to have better family values, and everything is going to be on point. So this is why I was giving you all those different angles, to see you things from a different perspective, and of course to be a little bit controversial. So please do not hit me. I'm a very normal and sane guy, and that's all I had for you today. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much. Share this video right now. Let's keep the conversation going in the comment section below. So yeah, take care. Have a great night. Be blessed.